Here is what we're about to do next. It's called masking, and it's the ability to animate an object, like the spacecraft you just saw there, and make parts of it show and not show to give the effect, like in this case, that it is integrated into a photograph. I have made a new file, called it masking, made a layer called craft and a layer called masker, and of course I set up the document to be the same size as our working file. Go ahead and make one more layer here called photo, and we'll go ahead and import our photo. Now, something I want to tell you about importing is if you bring in an image, for example, and you don't have your stage exactly centered, it'll kind of throw it in the center of here and it'll miss. And then you'll have to spend a little more time organizing it. But if you just double click on the hand tool, bring the stage into the center, you can even command minus out to see more of it. But the key thing is that everything is nice and centered there from the double clicking on the hand tool. Now we'll go File, Import, and you can select Import to Library and put it in the library first and then place it. But this option will import it right to the stage and also put it into your library. So that's what I'm going to select. I'm going to navigate my way into my midterm folder. I'm going to find that JPEG that I provided, and we're going to click on open, and we can see it put it right smack dab in the middle. And we can also see if we go to our library that there is a copy of the photo in our library. I'll go ahead and lock my photo layer. And on the craft layer, I'm going to go ahead and make something that looks like a spaceship. Converted that to a symbol, gave it a simple animation across the stage. We'll go ahead and extend the background with the F5. So to make a mask, we have to have a layer, and then we double click on that layer, and we change the layer properties to mask. Then we take the item that we want masked, we click on that layer and we drag it up so it has that tuck under relationship of here's your mask and here's your item that is being masked. The thing that's hard to understand about masks at first is that what you draw on the mask layer is actually a revealer. And let me just show you that. So I'm going to go to the first frame of my mask, and I'm just going to draw something out. I'll just make a large rectangle. Doesn't matter what color or anything. And let me extend this out. And you can really only see this in two ways. One is if you preview it, so the command return. And so you see what happens is when this animation cycles around, the only place that the craft is visible is where I drew that object. In order to preview this here right inside the program, what you have to do is lock both the mask and the masked item, and then you get the same preview. We're going to end up redoing the mask, so don't get too worried about what I'm doing in here. I'm going to add two, so I need to unlock. And there's two key things I want to point out here by adding another part. I'll lock. Okay, so you can see again, it's just where the items are drawn or where an object exists on the mask layer is where we can see our animated object. So that's the whole premise of masking. Let me show you something that can go wrong with this multi-object mask, meaning I have these two items. If somewhere along the line you accidentally bump one of these and then you preview your animation, it messes up. So I'm going to show you a way to avoid that from happening by doing a more intuitive way of masking. But if you don't like what I show you and you do want to make a mask with multiple objects on it, then there is just one more step that you have to know so that that little thing doesn't happen and mess your mask up. So we would have to Command Z back to where the mess happened. So it looks like it's working now. And then what we'd have to do is select all of the items that make up the mask. So click on this one, shift click on this one, and then we go up to modify, combine objects in union. And so what that does is it puts these objects, it's like a grouping of the objects, and then the program recognizes them and they move together. I don't like masking that way because if I need to edit it or add to it, I have to think about doing that again. So I'm just going to delete these and I'm going to show you my technique for masking. What I do is to draw inside of the mask the areas that I don't want to see the object being masked. So in this case, it ends up being this tree, this human, and this tree. So this is kind of a multi-step process. And again, your most accurate option would be the pen tool. And so you can be super accurate by clicking and dragging and matching all the curves, or you can just, especially for this demo purpose, you can just kind of do a series of clicks and try to stay pretty accurate. The spaceship will be moving pretty quickly, so if there's a slight gap alongside the tree, we probably won't see it. We want to come all the way back to where we started, make sure we close the path, then that will allow us to fill that object. So we'll grab the paint bucket tool, I'll select the same color that I used here, which was a pure red, and fill it. Okay, so that's one of the three objects. I'll do the same thing for this one and for this one. If you have trouble filling one of the objects that you made, remember those gap options that we talked about first. So if you accidentally didn't close all the way around, you might want to try these and see if that doesn't fix the problem for you. So now we have just the opposite of what we want, which is good. To give ourselves what we actually want, we're going to remember the fact that putting one shape over the top of another and moving it subtracts from it. So I'm going to make sure I have everything locked here except my mask layer and this temp layer I just made. I'm going to go to the temp layer and I'm going to make sure I have a different color here. I don't want to stroke. I'm going to change the fill to black, and I'm going to draw something on the stage here that's bigger than everything that I have there. I'm going to go and turn the visibility of that off for a second. I'm going to go back to my mask layer, clicking here, selected everything. Then I'm going to do an edit, cut. Then I'm going to go back to this layer, select the first frame here, do an edit, paste in place. Now I'm going to take these objects, move them out of the way, which makes the cutout that I was after, and it avoids that problem of having to put the items in union. Now I can click on the black here to select it, do an edit, cut, go back to my mask layer, do an edit, paste in place, and then I can get rid of this temp layer. And now we have exactly what we were after. Let's enhance this a little bit. We'll go back to our craft and we'll go back to the first frame, and how about we make that a little bit smaller so it looks like it's coming a little bit closer as it goes. We can even use easing here, so we could do ease in, and this time I'm going to select one of the more advanced ones just for the heck of it. And then let's make it come back and stay right in a daunting place for our character here. We'll put in our classic tween. We'll extend our frames out. You can figure out how I put the little blinking light in there. It'll be very similar to the car. I'm going to start showing you now, so pause if you want to. So keep in mind, right now we have just the two items in our library, the photograph and the craft that we made. So if we want to go in and edit that craft, we double click in the library. This takes us into the isolation edit mode where we have a timeline for that symbol. So I can call that craft, I can call this light, and then I just simply want to draw a light where appropriate here. And I'm going to do this with the pen tool, fill it with the paint bucket tool, come out, 5 or 6 frames, do a F5 to extend that. Next frame, do an F7, come out a couple more frames, do an F5, and that's what will be playing over and over back on the main timeline. So I'll click on the breadcrumbs to get back to the main timeline, and when I scrub my playhead, I can see the little light shines there. We'll extend the whole thing out another second in anticipation for the next fade, and then I'm going to do my copy frames from here, paste it into the main file. The main production file, new layer, paste frames, and there we go. We can make another folder and put those in. Following the same steps as before, I brought in the new text. We'll extend that out a second and a half, which would be 30 frames, so that'd be to about 361. I'll just make a guess first with my F5, and not quite there. So and then we need our fade. So we'll go back up to the fade layer, and remember that starts a second before this stuff ends. So this ends on 330. That means that would end on 310. Give ourselves our F7. Command minus a little bit, turn the eyeballs off on our masking so we can see what's going on here. And then we'll go up to our library, drag out an instance of our fade reuse. And we'll extend this out a second and a half as well. And when you test this and you get an error that looks like this, see what's happening there? It keeps dimming in and dimming out. Well, see if you can figure out, even if you didn't do it, what it might be just in your head. The problem is when I brought out the instance of the reuse fade, it keeps going. So I need to figure out where 1.5 seconds is, which should be, you can pretty much see it when all the fading goes away. So that's the last perfect layer right there. And then it's the layer after that that I want to do an F7 on. So it does its thing, stays out of the way until the next time that it's needed, and we do a brand new keyframe, place it here so that it can start where it's supposed to and end where it's supposed to.